background on Abstract, we are a developer tooling company where our entire goal is to make the CosmWasm development experience as seamless as possible. We want to see a lot more applications being built. We want to see a lot more innovation in the CosmWasm space, and we want to see a lot more developers working together. And so with this, we built Abstract, and so Abstract is a full stack CosmWasm development experience. And so, yeah, I just have the Dora Hacks page up here. And yeah, so what I'm going to go over today is I'm going to show you some of our tooling and infrastructure on the Archway, where we feel like it is the best place for developers to build and collaborate on their applications because they are able to make more sustainable income while working with one another. So if we look on the on-chain component on our description, I'm going to be showing off our smart accounts as well as our name service, our module registry, which are essentially CosmWasm packages on-chain, as well as our DEX adapter, which allows for interfacing with DEXs across the Interchain. And in this demo today, I'll be showing off how to use the Astrovault integration. And so Astrovault is Archway's native DEX. They demoed yesterday, and they have some unique vaults and strategies for, a decentralized exchange. So something I want to also highlight that I won't be demoing today is the IBC capabilities. So developers on Archway will be able to create and manage interchain applications directly from Archway as their home chain, which allows for much more extensible applications and just configuring all from one chain. So yeah, without further ado, I'll jump right into it. So right now I'm on the Abstract Developer Console. I set up a new account here. So in my Kepler, I've got a test admin. This test admin does not have an Abstract account on it yet, so we've been plopped on the Abstract onboarding page. So first thing you can see here is that I can actually choose the host chain that I want to have my account on. And so in this case, I will be choosing Archway. So I'll go ahead and create my account. And so what this does is it actually goes and creates a smart account on the Archway chain, and it first installs the DEX module. And so the DEX module is something called an adapter. And so this allows for interfacing with Astrovault in this case on the Archway chain. It allows me to take assets that are in my account and swap them for other assets. And now after I show off some of the front-end capabilities, I will be showing a little tiny code snippet of why this makes the CosmWasm developer experience better in building applications. So right now, I'm on the homepage for my account. And the first thing I'm going to do is actually register some additional assets. And this is something that's generally it's geared towards application developers because Abstract has something called on-chain value calculation. And this allows applications, for example, an ETF application, to calculate the value of all of the assets in that smart account. And so right here, I'm actually going to be enabling Archway XArch, as many of the pairs on Astrovault are actually done through XArch. And for demo purposes, I'm also going to be enabling Agoric IST, which takes the Archway XArch path as well. So I've enabled both of those assets on my account, and I should be able to refresh this. And as I mentioned, this is much more useful for general application developers, but this is exactly what I want to demo today. And so after this, I will go ahead and deposit 5 Arch into my account, and I'll show use of the DEX module. So as previously shown, we installed the DEX module. Right now I'm in user mode. So as a user, you don't actually get exposed to the concept of modules. You just have some quick actions here on the side. You have your account home, you have the app store, as well as some admin configuration. but right here I'll be showing swap. So I can pick the source asset, which in this case is Archway Arch. And I'll say I want to swap half of that for X Arch. And so we can go ahead and ask this to swap. And so actually right here, I'm going to go ahead and copy this base64 execute message. And while it's going, I'm going to break it down. So I'm going to copy this on base64 thing and slap it into this JSON tool. So you may have noticed that the assets in my account look kind of strange because they're called Archway greater than X Arch, and this actually just says this is X Arch, the X Arch asset on the Archway chain. And so this is something that we have called the abstract name service, and it allows developers and users to use real world names of their assets instead of the denominations in their calls. And so if we enter dev mode really quickly, we actually can see and get access to the name service. And so name service is not a traditional address name service. It's something that allows developers and users to resolve assets, contracts, channels, meaning other chains, DEX pools, and account namespaces. And so as we can see here, I enabled XArch, and this XArch asset, it resolves to a CW20 address on Archway. And now me as the user or the developer, I don't have to know that denomination or address at all. But we can also see that the liquidity tokens for these pairs are also registered in here. And so that means if I'm developing an application that uses LP tokens or LP, LP tokens, then I can actually just figure it out really, really easily via the name. And this is also evident in when you're searching for pairs. So when I want to swap XArch for XJackal on Astrovault, I can actually just use the traditional name for this, and behind the scenes, it will resolve to the contract address. So let me go back into user mode. And so if we go back home and refresh our balances, we can actually see that we have 2.5 XArch, or give or take a little bit, as well as 2.5 Arch. And so now that we have XArch, we could probably swap this for IST, and just, goes to show, like, you can use any of the pools that are available on the Astrovault DEX straight via these names and through the name service. And so let me hop into a little bit of code right now. So you mentioned, or you may have noticed that when I called swap, I am saying I'm giving a module request with the action swap on the DEX Astrovault. And so as a developer, all I have to know is that when I'm developing an application that uses the DEX, I'm just swapping. I'm swapping two assets. It doesn't matter which DEX I'm swapping on, but I can use the same swap message for any DEX. So if I'm developing an application on Archway and there's a pair that's not available in Astrovault, I can actually just change Astrovault, the name of this, to, in this case, Osmosis, and then Osmosis. And so you can see that this actually uses the same syntax as the name service for the assets, where I'm saying I want to use the DEX Osmosis on Osmosis. And now if I wanted to do Windex on Juno, I would actually do Juno Windex. So let's hop into some code and see how this might be used. So I'm right here. We're actually in an abstract application called the payment app. And the payment app allows users to install this app on their account and receive payment in any asset. And so this actually has a dependency on the DEX module underneath. And it uses the DEX module to swap the assets you're getting paid into to your destination asset. So if I configure this with USDC as destination asset, and I got Astrovault token, and then it would be able to swap that directly. And so you can see here, first I retrieve the DEX from the actual app. So there's a struct that represents my app here, and I can retrieve the DEX for this. And all I have to know as a dev is I take this dex, which I'm asking which dex the pair is on, which in this case would be Astra Vault. So instead of name, I could probably just do Astra Vault here. Or I could just get it dynamically. And then I'm asking to swap the paid asset for my desired asset, which in this case is USDC, and I'm giving it a little bit of a max spread. And so now I've performed a full swap on the Astrovault DEX without even having to know what the shape of the swap message on that specific DEX is. Because as many of us know, working with the Osmosis native messages can be a PETA, and that's not necessarily the thing that we should be focusing on as a dev. Okay, so second thing I want to show you really quickly is the actual app platform on Abstract. So I created my Abstract account. This is a smart account. And so my smart account can actually install applications. And now behind the scenes, technically this is creating like sub accounts, but you as a user don't need to know that. So you just go ahead and install the application. In this case, it's the ETF application. And I'm instantiating this ETF with the fee recipient as myself, as well as a 5% fee. And so once this installs, I'll have it pop up in the apps on the side. And so now I'm in my ETF application. So the ETF app is something that allows you to create a portfolio of assets that your friends or your colleagues may invest into. And so since you are the admin of this, you're going to want to enter dev mode. And so this is going to allow you to register additional assets for your ETF. And this is where it goes to show like why this registering assets is actually really important. Because if we look at the ETF, we only have Archway registered here. And so Archway is the only thing in the portfolio. But if we want to register XArch, which is the only pairing against Arch on Astrovault, we'll go ahead and register this. And then this will allow me as the master trader and the manager of the ETF to have XArch on here. And so now both of these are on here, and I can go ahead and switch accounts. Theoretically, I don't think I have Arch on another account, so I'm just going to stay on this one. And I can actually purchase shares in this ETF. So by purchasing shares, I'm as the first purchaser, I'm actually going to have 100% of the shares. And so if I refresh this, you can see that the value is 2 Arch. And I have 100% of those shares. And if I refresh this, the value of those shares got deposited into the ETF. And as the trader, I'm going to want to enable the DEX module on this account so that I can swap assets, and it's not loading. But yeah, so I don't want this demo to go on too long, but the idea of Abstract, one, we make the developer experience in building applications as easy as possible. Two, everything is done modularly. So each of these modules can be composed to build more advanced applications. And this enables multiple teams to work together in building complex state machines and complex applications kind of based on the microservice architecture that we see in Web 2. And gotta love live demos. But we'll refresh, try to get that error to go away. But yeah, and so the module registry is something else that we offer devs. You can see all of the modules currently registered on Archway right now. And it's actually very, very easy to develop an application and register a new module. You can actually just, once you have a namespace, it's called demo. This is actually your developer name. And so it's kind of like your GitHub name or your DoraHacks username or whatever. But once we have that namespace, I can go ahead and publish modules here. I'm not going to go through this whole flow, but yeah, I think you get the gist. You can publish modules that other developers can take dependencies on. They can interact with them in the front end, and you can build better applications as, yeah, working together. And then as a user, you can install apps on your account and have fully self-sovereign applications and truly enable like the mission of Web3, which is sovereignty and interoperability. And yes, thank you for letting me demo today, and appreciate all your time.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Adair, for the thorough demo, and really appreciate your time as well. So what's before we go to the final demo of the day, what's next for Abstract as it pertains to Archway specifically? Like anything interesting in the roadmap related to this ecosystem?
Yeah, absolutely. So we want to enable something that we're calling HackerFi. So because Archway has rewards given to the developers based on the usage of their modules, we want to enable kind of like a secondary market around that and allow for more social applications to be built around this because I feel like this is actually a quite novel mechanism where developers can have sustainable income, but you could build markets on top of this as well and allow for developer teams to have to have income split amongst themselves and enable a lot more collaboration. So this HackerFi, it will allow you essentially to stake on certain developers and certain developer teams and be able to take a share of their earnings on Archway. And I think this is the only place in the Cosmos on the Interchain where you can do this. And I think this could enable like a lot more application growth and sustainability because in investing in the developers, you're investing in the infrastructure, you're getting better applications, and like an ETF, you're getting a share of the rewards. And so that's what's next for Abstract on Archway, and I'm really excited to see that brought to reality.
Yeah, no, that's a great idea. And I like the name too. So HackerFi, that's great. So look forward to, seeing what's next for you guys there. Very exciting. Thank you so much, Adair.
Yeah, thank you, Brian.